Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. Very excited to have you with us today. It is the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment, and wow, we are loaded to the gills. Speaking of gills, we're going to be talking about somebody we lost today, but some memories for me on that. I got to bring in guy along for the ride with me today. Let's get him on the live stream. Jason Halperin is back in the house with us today. Jason, what's going on?
I'm doing good, Mark. How you doing today?
I'm conscious. I'm conscious.
A good start.
Man, I'll tell you, crazy couple of days for me is, man, this show came together quick.
Yeah, but that's a good thing.
Oh, man, I'm excited because we have two very special guests coming up on our show. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Let's hit me with it.
Are you ready? This is unreal. So hour number one, we're going to be hearing from ad-free shows. Of course, you know that they have that unbelievable network of shows like A3 Weeks with Eric Bischoff and The Orange Show and Jeff Jarrett's show and just Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, all those guys are on that podcasting network. Coach Rosey, Josh Rosenbaum, is in New York. He's in Times Square. So we're going to get to hear from him in just a few minutes. We're going to talk a little Forbidden Door. He's heading over there, making the trip to Long Island. So we're going to give him a call and get him on, talk to him about his thoughts about what's going to be happening over there for Forbidden Door today. And we'll be talking about that later in the show. And in hour number two, I am so ridiculously honored that we're going to be joined by one of the people who I think it's very underrated, his place in professional wrestling history. And when you do the research, this guy has been at some of those pivotal moments in this industry. It's unreal. And of course, he is the head of the board for the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame out in Waterloo, Iowa, and they're going to be having their 25th anniversary induction ceremonies coming up July 18th through the 20th. So you need to get your butts out there and check it out. But Gerald Brisco is going to be on the show.
Wow.
So very excited to have Gerald Brisco joining us in hour number two. So what can you say? This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, can't wait. So very excited to have two terrific guests joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN. And if you're listening to us on KDAWN or that Odyssey app, you haven't downloaded it, get it because it'll come in handy. You may be on the road sometime and say, gosh darn it, I want to listen to the Mark Hoke Show, but I'm in the car or, I'm stuck on some desert island or something. And what do I do? I can't listen to KDAWN. Well, you download the Odyssey app, listen to us. That'd be good. And, of course, also, we are live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. So if you would take a second and subscribe, that's a great way to do it. Then you never miss anything that we post, like that Joe Hendry post that I put up that blew up. I mean, Joe Hendry, he's...
That one did blow up. That
one blew up because Joe Hendry is just so hot right now. But, yeah, so we're just having a great time. And appreciate everybody on the live stream. If you have any thoughts, questions, anything you want to throw at us, feel free to hop in that chat box and say hi. We would appreciate it. But, yep, Coach Rosey coming up in a little bit, and Gerald Brisco joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show. But before we get to Coach Rosey coming up, we want to pay our respects. Now, this one I definitely will put my finger up in the air. But for the original Bloodline, I don't know about this second little crew. But we lost Liadi Sika and Hawaii this week. And, of course, him as Sika from the Wild Samoans, the reference to the fish, because, of course, he and Afa were pretty darn good at eating raw fish in the ring. But
they were good at a lot of other stuff in the ring, too.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. When I first started watching wrestling, the Samoans had just lost the tag team titles in WWF to Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. And I got to experience, what they did in the ring. Had their couple of runs in WWE and were kind of getting around all over the place. And, and Sika got to do some single stuff too. But, certainly, one of my first cards, I got to see the Samoans out at Hershey Park in the Hershey Park Arena, and just absolutely enjoyed them to death. I mean, they were, some scary dudes, to say the least, but, one of the most underrated tag teams of all time. And it amazes when people don't talk about the greatest tag teams of all time. The Samoans' names don't come up as much as they probably should, but they were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and that's really surprising they don't talk about it. I mean, they held over 20 tag team championships throughout their career, throughout the career and throughout the world. I mean, that's an amazing number.
Yeah, and and I think one thing that, when you talk about Sika and what the Samoans did, one impact that I think that you can't forget with them is not just what they did in the ring, but what they did outside of it and the influence that they've had on pro wrestling. I remember when I was about 16, 17 years old, and you'd see the ad for the Samoan school out in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You're a Pittsburgh guy.
Absolutely. I remember that.
So you might remember seeing some of those too. A little younger than me, but man, it's one of the biggest regrets I have in my life. It was 2 hours away, and I was so tempted, but my parents would have killed me. They would have killed me if I'd have driven over there. But they have trained so many great professional wrestlers over the year, and obviously the family as well. But, we had Ace Austin on the show, and he trained at that school and gave us a little insight into what they did and how much influence that they had in the industry. And, it's really sad to, with Sika being gone. And of course he's the father of Roman Reigns, and, he and Roman got to have that incredible moment, when Sika put the lay on him.
Yeah, that was a great moment. I mean, that was a great father-son moment. I mean, awesome for fans, but even better for the two of them.
Yeah. And, so we say goodbye to Sika and, wish the Anoa'i family and the whole clan, our condolences and the best in a tough time. And I'm sure they miss him terribly. So as does everybody in professional wrestling. So just wanted to take time to say goodbye to Sika.
Yes. Little homage to him there.
Yeah. May have to grab some sushi today.
We're just not eating it live on camera, though.
Not on camera, no. But, of course, just to lead in before we get to our guests in the next segment, of course, we have the Bloodline 2.0, and the kids are not being good.
No.
They are not. And they decked Paul Heyman for not acknowledging Solo as the new tribal chief. And Paul Heyman takes a couple of nasty bumps. That table bump, by the way, did not look good. He kind of bounced off a little bit, and
it looks like they kind of missed on that one. But hopefully, he really is okay. Hopefully,
yeah,
because it did look a little nasty.
But now we are setting up an eventual return for Roman Reigns here, because the wise man took a beating, and this should be very entertaining to see what happens, because these four guys are very formidable in the ring, and I've been a huge Jacob Fatu fan for a long time, and obviously everybody around here in Vegas knows Solo. Of course, he wrestled here and trained at Future Stars of Wrestling, and of course the Guerrillas of Destiny. This is going to be a very interesting decision to see how they pull this back together, because obviously Roman's going to need a little help on this one.
Yeah, I'm real curious to see how they're going to do this, because obviously they have a couple different angles they can use on this one, to really do it. You still have the Usos that are sitting there that, that can obviously go back with Roman Reigns. I don't know if they're going to want to pull Jay back in, but obviously Jimmy is one that can definitely go back in. His return is going to be coming soon. You also have the other guys that can go and defend Paul Heyman. You got guys like CM Punk. You got guys like Brock Lesnar. Is it that time to bring Lesnar back? Are you going to pull Punk away from the whole Drew McIntyre thing right now? I mean, there's a lot of things you can go with this one. Do you possibly see a kind of a Shield reunion? Do you see a Seth Rollins come over to help Roman Reigns on this one? It's pretty interesting on where they could go with this one.
Yeah, got a whole ECW roster out there too. So
that's very true.
Yeah, there's some interesting possibilities coming flying around there. So we will check it out and see how this all turns out. But we could be getting Roman Reigns coming back at SummerSlam here pretty shortly. So hold on to your hats, kids. But man, I'll tell you, boy, this new Bloodline group, highly athletic, powerful. They're going to be something to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how all this comes down, and just what these guys are going to be able to do is going to be sensational. And man, Roman better get a little extra time in the weight room in, because I'll tell you what, the minute he steps in the ring, especially with Jacob, I mean, is going to be absolutely fantastic. So
yeah,
cannot wait. It's going to be a blast. And I'll tell you what, let's get our break in, because we want to get Coach Rosey on the show here. So let's hit it. And when we come back, oh man, it's going to be fun. A live report from Times Square. Can you believe it? That's going to be a blast.
That absolutely is.
Josh Rosenbaum, Coach Rosey, is going to be coming on the show. So stick around, everybody. We've got a whole lot more. And Gerald Brisco later on in hour number 2. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
101.5 FM KDAWN. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's get back to it. Hour number 1 continues of the Mark Hoke Show. We're just going to have an unbelievable day today. Of course, Gerald Brisco coming on in hour number 2. But, of course, we need to get our guest who's coming to us live from Times Square. This is a new one for the Mark Hoke Show. Can't wait. Coach Rosey. Of course, Josh Rosenbaum from Ad Free Shows. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed to Ad Free Shows, I don't know why you haven't. I mean, unbelievable podcasts with like Something to Wrestle in 83 Weeks, My World with Jeff Jarrett, Grill and JR. I mean, all these unbelievable personalities from pro wrestling. All you got to do is go to Ad Free Shows and check it out. Minimum like $7.20 a month. I mean, this is super cheap for all you get. It's unreal. So let's get Coach Rosey on the show. How are you doing, Josh? Good to talk to you, my friend.
Man, it's great to talk to you guys as well. New York is lively. This city is all about pro wrestling. SmackDown started it off Friday, and boy, we're going to have a banger tonight with Forbidden Door. I'm really excited to be in New York and see a show that really brings the wrestling community together with guys from Japan, from Mexico, from Australia, from Europe. It's truly a World Cup of professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's one thing that has been unbelievable that's been happening in pro wrestling lately. And, I think, you got to give a lot of credit to Tony Khan for starting to, pull all these companies together. Of course, the Forbidden Door concept with New Japan, and now it's just bringing everybody in. I swear to God, we're going to have those guys from Uganda coming in here too at any point. I mean, this is just an incredible card tonight. What's got you most excited about this one this evening, Josh?
I can't wait to see Swerve fight Will Ospreay. I mean, if you can't get excited for that match, that's obviously number 1. But number 2 would be to see some of the heroes that I've followed from New Japan Pro Wrestling for years and years, and to actually see them live and uncut, if you will. Man, I can't believe it, because to see, Okada and Tanahashi and all those guys and the guys from CMLL, it's just going to be an amazing experience, because I'm going to be able to be with the wrestling family and really soak in everybody's culture, because wrestling is so different all over the world in styles and the ways that they cheer. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is going to be an outstanding card tonight. A lot of matches, that's for sure. You guys are, we're all going to be watching a lot of wrestling tonight before this is all said and done. But yeah, that main event should be absolutely incredible. And I know Jason, you're pretty pumped up tonight about Mox and Naito. I mean, that is going to be a hell of a match.
Definitely looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Coach, what do you think? What do you think about that one tonight? That should be exciting.
Yeah, and I think Naito's going to go over on Moxley. I mean, that's just my prediction. And to see him win back the championship, it's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be hardcore. It's going to be physical, strong style, and it's going to be something that we don't usually see here in the States. And I'm going to celebrate the experience, because what I've seen from the Japanese wrestlers is amazing. Just the way that they hit and kick and execute their moves, it really is a fine science that they wrestle with.
Yeah, and of course, you're one of the lucky guys because you get to hang out with Conrad Thompson and Jeff Jarrett and all these guys. Now you get to see a little bit more than the average fan, shall we say. What is the experience like, of course, with your association with ad-free shows, when you get to go to one of these events as opposed to the average fan? I mean, it's got to be a thrill for you to be around all these guys and see what you get to see.
Well, I'm 50 years old, and anytime I get a text from any wrestler, it could be the Brooklyn Brawler, my heart skips a beat. I would never have thought that I would be in the position that I am today. I'm living out a childhood dream. It's become a reality, and all of these wrestlers are just regular guys, and to be able to experience life with them and then see them perform their craft it's amazing to me. I have to sometimes restrict myself from marking out, and with practice it's come, but there's still that little kid inside of me that lights up whenever I get to interact with any of those guys.
I know that is a problem that I have too. I'm still adjusting to it. Like, and of course you were instrumental in helping us get Gerald Brisco on the show today. And, the Briscoes were just one of my favorite tag teams. And of course, they go way back before that too. And, getting to talk to Gerald today is going to be a thrill and a half. And, I'm going to try and keep myself under control for that one. That's going to be absolutely incredible. And I know Jason and I were talking about it before the show got started today, that just, the history of Gerald Brisco in professional wrestling is incredible too. And it's just so much, it is amazing getting to talk to these guys and be around them. I sometimes don't even know what to say. See, I'm getting flustered right now even thinking about it.
Well, Mr. Brisco, he's an amazing guy. I'm a teacher. That's my shoot job. I've been a high school teacher for 28 years. And Mr. Brisco has been recommending books that I've been having the students read in class about Native American history and wrestling. I mean, he's a true Renaissance man. And he's got such an integral part of the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame over there in Waterloo that I've become a lifetime member. I'll be in Waterloo this upcoming month at the end of the month in July. I believe it's the 18th through the 20th. And just to be able to celebrate our sport from where we were maybe 10, 11 years ago to where we are now, it's heartwarming to see that pro wrestling is back and that pro wrestling is part of our culture again, that pro wrestling is talked about in the lunchrooms, that kids are smiling again with pro wrestling. It's the way it should be, because pro wrestling is a microcosm of life. You got heroes, you got enemies, you got people overcoming stuff, you got people cheating, lying, stealing. I mean, it's got it all, and it's awesome.
Now, I'm sure you guys over there at Ad Free, with everything that's been going on with this Who Killed WCW series, that things are heating up just a tad right now with all these people coming out with the interviews and the show and the talk about WCW again. I can only imagine what's happening with all of you, especially with Eric Bischoff and his show. What's been going on over there with this series now just wrapping up that I'm sure the interview requests and the talk over there and the bringing back of all the memories has been very entertaining, to say the least.
It's been so entertaining for Eric that he started his own personal show that is called Wise Choices, where he just comes on YouTube live. It could be at 8 o'clock at night. It could be at 7 o'clock in the morning. You never know when Eric gets a wild hair. He jumps on YouTube and takes questions from the fans. He loves interacting with the fans. And most especially, he likes debunking the facts that sometimes are not facts, that are opinions. Eric is very strong-minded. And when Eric heard that The Rock had him on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling guys, this melted Eric's heart. And when you saw Eric in the show, when Nash paid his compliment to him at the end of the show, Eric is finally getting the flowers that he has deserved for years and years. And now people can finally realize that the death of WCW had zero to do with Eric Bischoff and had so much to do with all the extraneous situations that were in the background. He loved WCW. He built WCW. And he wanted to continue WCW, but for one reason or another, it didn't happen. But WCW is in his blood.
Yeah, that is. It's been a very interesting series to see, with Eric in the middle of it, and man, it's the reaction that's been coming out, on either side of these issues has been, to say the least, fun. It's certainly given us a lot to talk about. That is for sure. Well, Coach, I know you got to get rolling here. I know you're busy getting ready for everything going on with Forbidden Door tonight, but I want to thank you for everything you've done for me already, and I hope you have a great time. It's going to be an awesome night over there on Long Island, and I wish you all the best, having a blast over there, taking in Forbidden Door. It should be an awesome evening.
Hey, it's just the beginning of a tremendous year that has amazing events, and I can't wait to hang out with you guys in Vegas for WrestleMania. It's going to be an amazing event. You guys have the best show in Vegas. You promote the sport. You give it love in Vegas. Vegas is a great wrestling town. For all of you, for the people that say that wrestling in Vegas isn't great, come to a show. The fans come out in droves. They support wrestling. And WrestleMania on the 19th and 20th of April is going to be the culmination. And Vegas is going to show out. And they're going to see what an amazing town Vegas is for wrestling.
Yeah, and what I think we'll do? We'll just have all the ad-free guys come in here, and we'll all just take over the Odyssey studios, and you guys can go station to station, and we'll just have everybody sit in here all day long. Jason, I think that's a good idea.
Absolutely. And I mean, we have the room. Come on in.
Yeah, just bring the whole team.
Well, I'll definitely pass that message along to Conrad and the guys, and I know they're excited to be working with you, and you're going to put us with some good people, and it's going to be an amazing, because in wrestling, another beautiful thing is we all help each other, which doesn't happen very much in this world. We don't care what you like, what you do. As long as you love pro wrestling, we'll always stick a hand out for you, because that's what wrestling's all about.
You bet. You bet. Well, Coach, I hope you have a great time today. I want to thank you for coming on the show, and we'll definitely hear from you a lot more. I'm sure you'll be a frequent guest here on the Mark Hoke Show as we move forward. But, hey, have a great time in New York City, man, and enjoy Times Square, and have a blast at Forbidden Door tonight, my friend.
Thanks, Mark. It was nice meeting you, Jason.
Hey, take care, Coach. Always a pleasure.
Bye now.
All right, there you go. Coach Rosey. Josh Rosenbaum joined us here on the Mark Hoke Show. And, that was a lot of fun. Man, this is what we do on this show.
Yeah, just getting people on, letting them talk, and really bringing out their experiences in the wrestling industry. Yeah,
it has been. We've been doing the show. It's been a little over 3 years. Yeah, we're coming up on the. We're getting near the 3-year anniversary. I think
anniversary coming up.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, this is show 176 ish. Yeah. Well, it is. It's show 176. I've been keeping track, but it's been so much fun from where we've started to where we're finished, or where we're at right now, and it's just continuing. And now WrestleMania coming, man. I'll tell you what, what a great time. And
the culmination for the show.
Yeah, just keep it rolling. Keeping it rolling. But, yeah, we are really enjoying ourselves here on the Mark Hoke Show. And, man, Gerald Brisco is going to be on the show.
You know what they need to do when they have you need to get the Mark Hoke Show down at Allegiant during WrestleMania, during that week, or that lead-up week. You know, kind of like when the Super Bowl was in here, they had Radio Row. You need to get the Mark Hoke Show down there. Get it involved in everything.
That would be fun. Yeah, I know we're going to be involved down on at the convention center, from what I understand. So,
no, but I'm saying actually get you down at Allegiant.
Oh, I'll be down there.
Let's get you down at Allegiant. Let's see if we can get you a table. Get you ringside. That's where the Mark
ringside.
That's where the Mark Hoke Show needs to be. You need to be right there at ringside. Come on.
Oh, I probably have to wrestle somebody for that. I think Triple H would. I don't know if he'd go for that.
We can make a couple phone calls. You never know.
Well, I'm friends with Shawn Michaels now.
There you go.
So that helps.
Make a couple phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can get it done.
Oh, I'm sure WWE publicity would just jump at that. They'd be like, "Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Sure,
come on,
sure, yeah."
Number one in the time slot. Come on, you got to get them on.
Oh, but it is exciting, yeah. And and overall, the pro wrestling community. Coach said it right. I mean, everybody realizes that we're all trying to do one thing, and that's grow the industry. And if you're not in it to grow the industry, what are you doing there? Exactly. And we talked about the passing of Sika, and one thing that a lot of people that are in it do is that they want to keep it growing and they want to keep it moving forward. And if you're not there if they're just kind of be like a bunch of locusts and come and eat and leave, you're not doing the right thing by it. I mean, I think part of what you and I are talking wrestling history, and one thing that I like to talk about it too is because I want people to understand not just what's happening now, but what's happened in the past, where it's going, because I think it's important to understand about what has come before here. I mean, these guys that wrestled, even back in the 40s and 50s, and you can go back to Hammerschmidt and Gotch, in those days, and we might even mention that a little bit with Gerald. I mean, today that. It's important to understand all that and know that history. And that's something that I just eat up. When I first started learning about professional wrestling when I was a kid, I studied all that stuff. I learned, I picked up that first PWI, and man, I was off to the races. Man. I'm digging up those books and I'm learning about Bruno, and I'm learning about the Funks and the Briscos and Luthez and all these guys, because I wanted to learn about it. It's like any other sport that you care about. You want to understand not just what's happening there, but who came before and know all about it. So it's important. It really is.
Absolutely. If not for those founding fathers, so to speak, the industry wouldn't be where it is today. You have to pay homage. You have to learn about it. You have to keep bringing it up. You have to keep it alive. From stuff going back, like you said, from Bruno in the 60s and 70s, all the way through, the turn into the 80s, where you started to have, quote unquote, that was the golden age, then into the Attitude Era. The people today have to keep those memories alive from the older generations of wrestling, because that's where it all was born. I mean, today, everyone watching it, you're seeing it on live you're seeing it live on TV, you're seeing it on national networks. It wasn't like that when you and I started watching it.
No.
It wasn't. It was all regional. It was all, you were lucky. You're getting up Saturday morning. That's the only time you really got to see it.
Yeah.
Depending on your region.
Yeah. I was very fortunate because cable had just started to get rolling. And in between that and syndication, I was very lucky that my local station, one of my local stations on, I still remember Channel 43, WPMT, started picking up World Class, and then the cable stations like Home Team Sports out in Baltimore. I don't know if you remember them or not. They eventually, I don't know if they became MASN or they just dropped out, but they started picking up Mid-South a little bit, but they had Florida Championship Wrestling,
mm-hmm.
and so and the Mid-Atlantic came on WPMT, and so I got to see all of these people that I was reading about in the magazines, and it was just awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very lucky that, Channel 43 understood, how was seeing all these ratings come in for pro wrestling. It was like, oh man, we got to put on even the one show, and I'm forgetting who the host was. But it was a pro wrestling weekly show where they went all around the country and they showed highlights from like Portland and Missouri and everywhere else, and it was just a blast. And so I mean, even if you get these little tiny snippets, it was like that magazine would come to life, and now it's like, oh my God, the wrestling world's starting to come together. And then, of course, everything happened with Vince, and he swallowed it all up. But still, it was amazing. But and I still remember all the promos for Jim Crockett and his Mid Atlantic would roll around into town, and oh my God, it was amazing. I'm sorry, we're waxing a little poetic here, but that's part of the fun of all this.
Absolutely.
And then the kids that are watching now that are in their 20s, they're going to be telling their kids about the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes, and like we talk about Dusty, they're going to talk about Cody.
Yeah.
It's it's just too much.
It's almost, has wrestling really turned the corner now? Are we entering a new golden age for wrestling?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, is it really a possibility here?
Oh, I definitely think so. And you're in a position now where it's become it's back heavily in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And you can say what you want about Vince McMahon, but the one thing that Vince saw that vision of, we've got to get this out of the regional area, and it's kind of a smoky cigar filled room event, and we've got to make this something bigger. And you have to give him credit for that he had that vision. And and it started with the MTV thing. If you remember, what actually led to WrestleMania was the Brawl to Settle It All with Cyndi Lauper, and you had Wendy Richter and Moolah, which then trickled into Mr. With Roddy Piper hitting Lou Albano, and then that brought Hulk Hogan in and Mr. T, and all of a sudden we have WrestleMania, and off we go.
Yeah,
off we go. It was it was visionary. It was.
He truly was. I mean, to have that vision, to be able to see where this needs to go, and not only that, to be able to take it there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people really thought when he did the first WrestleMania that he was nuts. Who's going to pay to watch this? Who's going to do a pay-per-view to watch this on TV? And that was huge.
And like I said, Vince is obviously in a very bad place right now, but he risked everything. I mean, if you look at some of the stories about leading up to WrestleMania, took out second mortgages and every dime he had. If that didn't work, he was dead in the water. And, I still remember going where I saw that first WrestleMania. It was on closed circuit TV at locations all over the country. There's your promo.
Yep.
But I went to York Suburban High School and in the gym and watched the first WrestleMania, and just kind of went from there. I mean, it was an absolutely incredible undertaking when you think about that, and now where it is today. I mean, geez, once Tony Khan gets this deal done, we're gonna have two major companies with their stuff up all over the place, and incredible stuff. All right, I think we need to take a break.
Okay,
let's take a break, because I could do this all day. But of course, once again, when we come back, we've got Gerald Brisco joining us in hour number 2. And, we're gonna keep the chit-chatting about other fun stuff with pro wrestling. Like, let's take a little look at Forbidden Door. That's coming up tonight.
A few hours.
Just not long. And, Brian Danielson made some comments that I hope it didn't screw up the Owen Hart tournament. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
101.5 FM KDAWN. You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And we are back here on The Mark Hoke Show. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Yeah, best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Jason Halperin sitting in with me today. And we are looking forward to having Gerald Brisco joining us on the show in hour number 2. As in communication with him right now, so hopefully we'll be all squared up by the time he's ready to roll. But very excited to have him coming on the Mark Hoke Show here in just a little bit. Forbidden Door is tonight.
Yes, it is.
AEW putting their best foot forward. This is usually one of their best pay-per-views. Do some pretty good numbers with this one. And by the way, the numbers did rebound from last week. Pretty interesting.
Thanks, Drake.
I think that was part of it, but they let in, apparently what they're saying is they let in with Black Panther. It was not their normal lead-in, which is usually the Big Bang Theory. And Black Panther did no numbers. Like almost infinite zeros.
Because it's on 6 days a week, probably?
People love that show.
Like the rest of the Marvel movies?
Yeah, and just, yeah. So that normal lead-in, and that's important. I mean, it's funny that our station here, which kind of unprecedented for weekend programming, actually put a betting show on before us so that we'd have a good lead-in. Just, we were doing good, obviously doing some pretty great numbers, but they moved a show to help us out to get even better numbers. I mean, that's important stuff.
Absolutely. It's also appreciative, too.
Yeah, but... So they usually get a good carryover from Big Bang Theory that apparently they did not get from Black Panther. But I do think that concert hurt. I think it did. Plus, it was a holiday, too. So,
yeah.
But, yeah, so they were back to their normal numbers. Now, it's still probably not where they want it, but they were still in the top 2 or 3 shows for Wednesday night. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you can't be upset about that. And like we talked about last week, I mean, now with everything being able to be streamed, with everything being able to be taped and watched, the numbers are probably lower than what they truly are.
Yeah, and it is such a different industry today. But yeah, so Tony can relax, everybody can relax. The blip's over, great, and now we can get down to actually watching some wrestling tonight. But it was funny that the segments that they said were the big ones, or somewhat, are going to coincide with these couple of these matches tonight. MJF's segment, which was the lead-in segment. And, of course, he's got his match with Hichiriso tonight. So get ready for MJF to go crazy this evening.
Just a little bit.
Chris Jericho's segment was one of the big ones this week. That guy just gets ratings.
That's, he knows how to cut a promo.
He does.
He's been doing it for years. Of course he knows how to do it.
So it's Chris Jericho and Big Bill taking on and with Jeff Cobb. And they are taking on Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. That's going to be a fun match.
Yeah, I think
don't even need it on pay-per-view, but it's going to be a fun match.
It's definitely going to be an entertaining match. There's no doubt about that.
I wonder if Jeff Cobb is going to do something bad to Big Bill or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But Jeff Cobb and Samoa Joe, that's some beef.
Yes.
That's some beef. And then we've got the women's match, because that segment apparently, and gee, I wonder why, drew the crowd. Toni Storm is taking on Mina Shirakawa with Mariah May in both their corners. She's just going to be going, I love you both. That's what she's going to do. But that was a huge drawing segment. Like I said, I can't understand.
Yeah,
how is that
shocking.
possible?
I don't know. It's strange.
Oh, we're still guys. We are. We're still guys. But that should be a very interesting match tonight, because I got to say, Shirakawa's been getting a lot of attention. Those promos have been pretty good. Doesn't hurt Mariah knows her very well, too. I mean, obviously they were partners in Japan. So, that's kind of played well together, surprisingly.
Yeah, it has. But, when you've been together for a while and you've, like you said, coming from Japan, it's not surprising that they're able to do that and put together a good one.
Yeah, so that should be a great match tonight. And, main event should be pretty exciting too. I know you got Moxley Naito is one you're looking forward to. Danielson Takagi should be a lot of fun. But of course, Zack Sabre and Orange Cassidy. This one's kind of, I wouldn't say getting ignored, but that should be a hell of a match tonight and a great one for Orange Cassidy. I can't wait to see what he's going to do with Zack Sabre Jr. because this is a step up for him.
On this card, it's definitely one that's going to get overlooked because of all the big names and everything you have on it, but it definitely should be a good one. It's one of those where I wouldn't be surprised if they put on one of the fights of the night.
Yeah, I mean, Zack Sabre Jr., that guy could wrestle a mop and he's good.
Yeah.
So, and Orange has really continued to step up his game, continued to just impress people so much. He's another guy, by the way, that started out his wrestling career out around my area. I didn't know that until I interviewed him, that he wrestled out in Hanover, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you knew that or not, Jason.
No,
but
did not know that.
Yeah. So I wish I'd known that because he was wrestling on the Indies about 15 minutes from my house. Pretty crazy.
Just a small world there.
Yeah. Him and Swerve was wrestling in York, PA. Living out there, I feel bad for him because he was making the commute on Route 30, which about Route 30.
Oh, yes.
It's
not a fun one.
It's one of the worst roads in the United States of America. God, I haven't been back for a while. I don't even want to know what it's like now. But overall, this should be a pretty entertaining night as, a lot of the wrestling world comes together for Forbidden Door. And I just can't wait to see how this all shakes out. But, of course, the main event, Swerve and Ospreay, is just going to be an absolute banger this evening. I cannot wait to see what these two put together. It should be something special. But the question is, who wins, Jason? That's the big thing for me. Who walks out of there with this title?
Yeah,
it's a tough call.
It is a really tough call.
I mean, do you put the belt? I mean, Ospreay's already got the international title. Do you put the belt on Ospreay headed into All In? Or do you leave it with Swerve, whose work has been incredible? I almost feel bad for Swerve. He's in a tough. You're in a tough booking spot there with this one.
I think that if you leave it on Swerve, I think it goes away. I think it goes away at the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. Tony has an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
Here it's
a good problem to have
in AEW, and this will be very entertaining to see what happens. Plus, of course, the winner of the Owen Hart tournament is going to get a title shot at All In. So a lot of decisions for Tony Khan to have made here going into this evening. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a nice revitalization after some interesting news for the last couple of weeks for AEW. Let's just sit back and forget all about it and watch some pro wrestling tonight. Yeah. Shall we?
There you go.
I think that's the plan. Jason, are you watching it, by the way?
I plan on watching this one, yes.
Oh, let me just come over to your house. I'm gonna invite myself.
There you go. Come on in.
Let's do it. Well, I've got a great guy coming into my house here in the KDAWN studios in a little bit because I am so excited. Gerald Brisco is going to be on the show here in a little bit.
Hey, I think Gerald Briscoe's coming on a little later. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I am. But stick around, everybody. We've got a terrific second hour with one of the great legends of professional wrestling. Plus, we're going to be talking about that WCW final episode and some other goings on. Like, what the heck is going on with Dijak? Are you kidding me? Unreal. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back. Hour number 2 coming up.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.